doing the county's dirty job. Hey, that's my job. And she literally said, and you're doing it too well. Literally, and I told her, can you tell it to my boss? I said, I was another word because you're doing this job too well. Or is it honest? Not anymore.
Call this meeting to order. It is 7:38. Has this meeting been properly noticed?
The meeting has been posted and noticed according to law.
Thank you. It looks like all trustees are present. Okay. Our first order of business is our oath of office to our newest member of the village board, who we are very excited to welcome tonight. And
Anybody here taking pictures? This is your opportunity. All right, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, John Wesley Warren,
I, John Wesley Warren,
having been appointed to the office of village trustee,
having been appointed to the office of village trustee,
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
and will faithfully and impartially discharge the
of
duties
said office to the best of my ability,
of said office to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
thank you. Get rid of the speeches. We'll move on to the next agenda item. Next agenda item is the 2017 audit report, and there is a speaker today. Jennifer.
No, absolutely not. Thank you all for having me tonight. It's a pleasure to present the audit and the audit communications to the board of trustees. I want to report that the audit went very, very smoothly. Staff did an excellent job getting ready for it. My staff and my team were able to conduct the audit on a very timely manner and get this report out exactly on time, according to schedules. The best news I'm allowed to give is that it is what we refer to as a modified opinion, what is normally called a clean opinion. That's the opinion we're allowed to give. The only part of the report that's truly ours. This document is prepared by Mark and delivered to us. The only part of this is that his signature's work is actually the opinion. So nice job. It goes above and beyond what's required by GAAP. It's a comprehensive annual financial report, and that means that it includes an introductory section and a statistical section. As required by the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for the Government Finance Officers Association. This report has received that award in the past, and we fully expect it to receive the report this year. It is the gold standard for governmental reporting. And we're happy to report that it was received in 2016, and again, we think it'll be received in 2017. I know you received this report in advance. If you haven't completed your review of it, I strongly recommend you start with the transmittal letter that appears immediately before our opinion, and then the management discussion and analysis that appears immediately after our opinion. This pretty much precedes the financial statements. Those are both prepared by staff. The MD&A compares last year to this year and tries to explain the differences in the numbers. Mark did a very good job. And I think it's very readable. Additionally, in the back of the report is that statistical section. That's generally a 10-year trend schedule of financial, debt, and revenue items, as well as some operational and demographic statistics. So I would encourage all of you to take a look at that if you haven't already. and be happy to answer any questions you might have on the comprehensive annual financial report.
Was there anything reported on last year's significant
No, there were not. We had no new findings. You're referring to the audit communication to the board? Okay. And that contained no new findings. A couple of the findings were implemented from prior years, and one is a segregation of duties. Very small financial staff we have here at the village, and it would be very difficult to overcome. And we simply comment that staff should continue looking for potential ways to increase internal controls, but the cost should not outweigh the benefit. That's kind of a tenet in all internal controls.
Do you have any other questions? Yes, ma'am?
So, on the beginning, on the management letter, second paragraph, we identified certain deficiencies in internal control that we consider to be significant.
Oh, I'm sorry, that should not have. Yes, I need to make that amendment. I will get that in a PDF. I'd be happy to reissue this. There was no significant deficiency. Well, there's a prior year. I'm sorry, it's a prior year comment. I misspoke. There's no new ones. The prior year deficiency that was not implemented is the segregation of duties and the census data. I apologize, those were prior year.
Any other questions?
I have two, maybe that's
Okay. So the prior year there was 4, correct?
Right.
And all 4 except the separation of power or payroll duties have been addressed?
Correct, except for the census data. Census data is the 4th one. This is our most common comment recently with our clients.
So number 2 is the financial statements from the Business Improvement District. And you note that they are a component unit of the village.
Right.
Can you just explain that?
Sure. The village doesn't have complete control over them as far as the budgeting process and approval process goes, but does bear financial responsibility for them. And according to our standards, it'd be misleading to exclude them from your audit, but it would be misleading to include them between the columns and included in the totals due to the lack of true control over the organization itself. The same is true of the other component unit,
The CDA.
CDA.
And it's still stating that we're not reporting in the same format?
Mostly what we're saying is that they use not-for-profit standards and FASB, Financial Accounting Standards Board standards and terminology within their audit as opposed to governmental accounting standards, which differ ever so slightly in pretty much terminology. It wouldn't affect the bottom line. We just would call the bottom line net position rather than retained earnings. Things of that nature.
Okay, but we should just know to continue to see it every audit so we don't do it, right?
Well, we can talk about that. It's not going to change for this current auditor, so it's not
Okay,
the worst thing in the world. It still is a clean audit.
okay. And the other one was the credits at the beginning for the village board. We changed over to the village staff, but I don't know if we changed over to the village board. I don't know what point in time. The acknowledgements at the beginning.
Oh, that one's a judgment call
Okay.
every year. Do you do it as of the balance sheet date or as the date of issuance? I have towns go either way. Most of them use the balance sheet date. The people that were in charge of the budget, that's contained within it.
Okay, I have one more. Trustee Warren. Trustee Warren.
Thank you, President Rosick. A quick question, just for my background on this report. I know that our comments and our deficiencies, they either fall into the addressed bucket or there's a management's response. Now, will all of those fall off the report next year, or is it something where we continue to revisit the ones that haven't been fully implemented? And maybe that just puts a finer point on what President Rosick alluded to, but.
I don't think we're ever going to get rid of number 3, the segregation of payroll duties. But that's the only one that I would think would continue in the future.
Anybody else have questions? So my last question was just on the pension liability. So I know we had the study done, I think it was last year or whenever, and I've asked the same questions, but it dawned on me, so somewhere in this report it says we don't have a reserve fund for pension liability. And is our pension, not pension necessarily, but even retiree benefits?
That's the one.
That's the one, right?
Right.
And is our outstanding obligation 3.4 million for those 69 past employees or current employees?
Right.
And so that's just something that I think the board should be aware of, that unlike the fire department who has actively planned and budgeted for those, we're just starting out doing that. Is that?
That's correct. The other post-employment benefit liability is new to the village this year in the manner it's being reported this year. The village chose to early implement GASB statement number 75. It's not required to be implemented until next year, so I got to compliment Mark on doing that ahead of schedule. But basically what that number is the amount of money calculated by an actuary that would be needed to settle that liability. And the only way to offset that liability would be to create a trust, irrevocable trust, in which the village could potentially, I only have one client that did this, transfer money irrevocably to settle that debt. Most auditors don't recommend that step be taken. The village has always been on a pay-as-you-go situation for that liability, and most villages will continue to do that as that liability will shrink over time.
And so I would just ask during our budgeting sessions that we get an explanation of when we foresee those amounts hitting us over the next, there's 69, right, employees, and 20-something, I think 22 it's already hit us, we're active. But I just don't know when they fall, so if it's a function one year, then we would understand.
Sure, I can prepare a summary of that to supplement our budget discussion.
And
Isn't that what the actuary, isn't that what the OPEB actuary would do? And we have a report from an actuary.
I do, yes.
Yeah, we have a report.
So does that assume the liability immediately, like if we were out of business to tomorrow? And
Theoretically, present valued to today, scheduled out the total payments, and then present value it to today, yes.
have people borrowed money to cover their liability and then paid them?
Not for OPEB. Very few governments have a very large liability for that. Most of them are the larger cities where they have a great number or a large number of disabled police, fire, public works people that by law you're required to continue the amount of insurance that the municipalities cost, or union contracts or policies that have been grandfathered in to pay for health insurance costs of former employees. Most municipalities have weaned their staff off of those types of benefits in the last 2 decades or so.
I had one other question. Does anyone have any questions, other questions about the OPEB liability? Okay. There was a loan made from our parking utility to our sewer utility.
Yes.
Can I just understand that a little bit? Can you just tell me what that was?
That was in place prior to my arrival at the village, and what's been explained to me at the time is that, as you know, we try to build a certain amount of reserves in our parking utility for either the eventuality that we may acquire additional facilities or to use to provide major maintenance to our existing facilities. I believe there was a unanticipated need within the sewer utility, and the trick, I shouldn't say the trick per se, but the method used to fund that was to loan money from the reserves of the parking utility to the sewer utility. And that solved the funding issue, so you don't have to bond for a relatively small amount of money. You're able to complete those projects without putting your fund balances in deficits. And then the schedule is a 20-year payment schedule. I think about 15 years into that now, where the parking, or the sewer utility's been paying back the parking utility each year until those balances are paid with interest.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? No, I thank you very much. I'm very happy to have the report this year, and I look forward to seeing you next year.